fuck me. Sorry.
Nope. Shit. All right, take 3.
No, just go. Just go with it. Ta-da!
All right.
That was a weird twinkle, twinkle, little star.
All right. Well, thanks for that lesson, Caitlin, in the piano.
Anytime.
Now I'm a master.
Now you can play with the melody. Ooh.
Ah, amazing. All right. Well, welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek music cast.
Yikes. Whoever made this piano app is going to be rolling in their graves.
I think they're probably still alive.
I've killed them.
Just by thought, just now.
Well, on today's episode of A Star to Steer Her By, you know what? It's a pain in the ass playing this by myself, so I'm going to do something better.
Oh yeah, load a demo.
Is
You're
there a
gonna play
demo?
one of the demos. I don't know.
He's going to play solitaire.
Hold on, everybody.
Dad, I did it. I'm back from school.
What the hell is this?
That's an ad. Oh, I can't skip the ad. Oh, yes, I can. There's an X.
Jesus.
You're off to a really good start, y'all.
Fuck it.
I'm starting to think this is why we don't improv.
All right. The music lesson is over. Well, as I was saying, welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. I am Jake, and I am joined today by...
Chris.
Ames?
And Caitlin.
And... Oh, we don't have a guest star today. Thank you.
Good. We're done with
We do
guest
have
stars.
Rossi's
Wow.
clock, so we'll be sticking strictly to the clock.
Yep.
Which means we're already behind.
Yep, we're fucked.
It's all
Okay.
right. Discussion of lessons won't take long.
Episode what? What is that? 126?
So,
It is.
126. That's a big
Whoa.
number.
Whoa.
That is the first number in the Bachenstiel set. Yep.
I feel like you're
Sure.
making that up.
The next number is 127, then followed by 128, 129, and so on. It's really just counting, only it starts at 126.
Interesting.
Bachenstiel was a very weird dude.
Most mathematicians are.
Oh, he wasn't a mathematician.
Fair
This is a
enough.
crazy man, Jake's
He was just a
Jake
drunk
talks in the
guy I
morning.
met once on a train.
And which he kept referring to as his house.
Yes. He kept saying, "Get out of my house." And then I realized I was in his house.
Yeah, it's a little weird for you to
Yeah.
be in that guy's house. Who's
Well,
crazy, you or him?
Yeah, or who's foolisher, the fool or the fool who fools him? Anyway,
Yikes.
that is a quote by Obi-Wan Star Wars from Kenobi World.
Oh, I thought Abe Lincoln said that on
Abe
the
Lincoln,
internet.
no, Abe Lincoln, Jesus Christ, Caitlin. Abe Lincoln famously said, "Jesus Christ, Caitlin,"
Oh, yeah.
and then he got shot. It was a tragedy.
Good thing nobody overheard his last words, or else I would have been implicated immediately.
That's right.
I look
As
good for
as with Jesus
200s.
Christ, you know?
Yeah, well, actually, that's actually
We're
always,
never going to talk about Star Trek.
That's always been misunderstood. You see, I was the shooter. Jesus was just my co-pilot.
Ah! All right, well, we're almost out of the green zone, so I better get going here.
Well, we're almost out of time.
Good
So,
thing this is a 2-second description.
So the two shows that we're going to be talking about this week are lessons.
Lesions?
Lessons. Left a lesion in my brain.
discuss lesions.
Lessons and the chase.
Yeah.
So first up, we're going to talk a little bit about lessons in which Picard gets some flute action in. The skin flute.
And his skin piano.
Oral sex.
In which he a new lieutenant commander on board, Lieutenant Commander Darren. She's kind of a bit, she's one of those free thought people that doesn't work so well in the Enterprise. You know,
What does
she's
that mean?
I thought you were going to say she was a broad.
no, she's
Oh, she was there.
she's like asking for special privileges. She wants extra time. And it's pissing people off. Everyone's like, I want to use the sensors. Oh, Darren's doing it again. So Picard goes down to confront her and then realizes she's a MILF. MILF alert! So of course,
And she didn't have any kids even, so that's weird.
Picard's dome
How
gets
does that
shinier, and he introduces himself and
his flute.
So then he's playing some of his little his inner light flute.
Resican tune?
Resnick?
Whatever. His
Forensic Files?
Settlers of Catan flute.
Yeah, that's it.
So he's playing his little flute. The fluty boy, the girl comes over and she's like, "Oh, you play the flute? Well, here, I have this rolled up piano." And he's like, "Why don't you teach me how to play my instrument?" And she's like, "I'll show you, young boy." And then they have wonderful lovemaking. And then the principal walked in and it was really awkward. And, well, she no longer works at that school. Anyway, so in the episode, though...
What the fuck?
What?
Jake likes to make fun of me when I do the synopses about going into too much detail.
Seriously, this episode, Picard has a girlfriend, then he realizes dating a crew member is dumb, the end.
She
No, it's
almost
cool.
dies in a firestorm.
The
True.
Firestorm was cool.
That's true.
It looked good.
It did
Actually,
look
no, it
pretty
didn't
good.
look that
Picard,
good.
Picard had to send her to her death. It was
Yeah.
great. But of course she didn't die.
And he's a cold bitch,
But-
so he was fine with it.
But she comes back to the ship and she's all like, "Dude, you almost let me die." And he's like, "Well, yeah, it's my fucking job to kill you, bitch." And
and then he
It's
shot her with a phaser.
It's on the agenda for today.
and then and then she's like, "Well, listen, I don't think we can work together anymore." So he's like, "Yeah, sure." So she stood there in silence for several seconds, and then he's like, "Oh, you think I'm gonna quit?" "I'm Captain Picard, biatch. Get the fuck off my ship." So we beamed her into space. All right, so that's the summary of lessons. So we'll just jump right into that in keeping with the Rossi clock here. I'm only slightly into the yellow, so I feel pretty good.
I don't think we're going to need all
Yeah,
the
there's
yellow
not much to
talk
say.
about
This
it.
episode
Great.
sucked.
It didn't.
It's not that it sucked. It was bland.
Nothing happened until the last, 10 minutes.
Firestorm was fun, but yeah, everything else
But it
was...
wasn't a problem until right there at the end.
Nothing
I
else.
was like, wow, there's literally no conflict
I
in this
wasn't
episode.
into their relationship.
Yeah, the conflict was Picard likes a girl and doesn't know if he's allowed to express it in front of the others, even though he's done it before
It's a
a
classic-
bunch of times.
Guys,
It was
no
a
problem.
fucking classic love story. Boy meets girl. Boy shows girl his flute. Girl shows boy her Jeffries tube. Magic.
Wow.
Nice.
She did show him.
I know,
yeah.
and he
the
and he whipped his
acoustically
pipe out and
perfect
everything.
Jeffries tube or whatever.
Yeah.
She was going on and on about this fucking Jeffries tube because of the great acoustics, and I was listening to it and thinking, honey, echoiness is not good acoustics.
Oh, there's
oh,
like
honey.
concert halls on the ship. Like,
Yeah.
they can just go into
And
one
you
of
can
those.
hear it from engineering. How many people has she banged in that Jeffries tube? And they can hear it everywhere.
What concert hall? You just
Well,
go to
Geordi
the
can
fucking
hear.
holodeck.
Geordi can hear because he's got ultra good hearing because he's a blind man, and everyone knows blind people hear.
Yeah, that's true.
Daredevil.
And I like that. Doesn't he actually ask Data? Like, Data, did you hear that? Are you telling me that Data doesn't have better ears than he does?
Data listens to people fucking all the time. He just tunes it out.
Yeah.
What's the thing? Data can
You
hear
really think he
everybody.
tunes it out?
He hears everybody on the ship at all times.
Yeah.
So he knew.
But yeah, by the time he said to him, let's go, the music had stopped, and Data's very literal, so he's not going to say, "I heard it a moment ago, though," unless you ask him.
I don't know.
Pedant.
For a second, I thought you were saying peasant.
No, pedant.
And I was like, wow. Fucking peasant Data. Dumb bitch.
Why?
Spit it out, Johnny.
What? I was about to. Why does Starfleet not have a rule saying captains can't fuck underlings? That's like...
Well,
I feel like
Literally.
it happens all the time.
It should be a rule against any superior. There's an inherent
Yeah.
conflict of interest there. Because, if you think, if Picard had less integrity,
Yeah.
then he wouldn't have. Then he would have beamed her out.
Yeah, he wouldn't have left her to die.
and that would
like he
and then
did.
a bunch of colonists
Yep.
probably would have died because they wouldn't have they wouldn't have had the people there to maintain the shield. So thank goodness Picard has a shitload of integrity because otherwise everyone would been fucked. And
Yeah, she'd be the only one left after a while, because everyone else would keep getting killed by things.
Him, her, and Data.
Data's impossible to kill.
I do have to give P-Stew some credit for his the acting I felt when he thought she was dead.
That was
quite
like
good.
the only good part of the episode. He
Yeah.
was really good then. Just he looked like he was just torn up inside. It was really well done.
Well, it's one of those times where, even when the chips are down for Picard,
Chips.
no, there was something on this that got in my mouth.
Why
Don't
are
put
you
that in your
chewing
mouth.
on it?
I don't know.
For our listeners at home, he was chewing on a bit of his placemat, which, as he put it, came loose.
Yes, they're all just coming loose, Jake.
It's
not you destroying it.
Slowly, but... What?
The fuck was that?
Oh, it's probably
Doorbell?
a delivery.
And we're back.
Okay, good.
A
Delivery.
dinosaur story.
Okay, so anyway, what I'm saying is, for Picard, even when the chips are down, he still kind of seems like he would know he's the guy. He can take care of shit. Like he's fairly unflappable.
Yeah.
But this was a moment where you really saw some vulnerability.
He was flapped.
He was
He
flapped.
got flapped hardcore.
He got fapped, then he got flapped.
Remember those the sleep capes, the fat flaps?
I was just gonna say, did she
Yeah,
flap them
years
into her
ago.
flaps? Because that would be
I
weird.
bet she
Ambassador
showed him the
Fox,
flaps.
I want to say.
Maybe.
Her flappy keyboard.
Oh, God.
Whoa!
That keyboard was really flappy.
Oh, God.
I guess you could say that joke struck a chord.
Yikes.
I'm not sure it did.
I don't know what in the episode happened to make me write this, but one of my notes is just, God, not having TV in the future sucks.
Because they have to watch concerts every fucking day?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Sometimes
Concerts
they do
and
theater.
plays.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, here's
What
the
a
thing.
fucking nightmare.
Plays aren't inherently bad,
Yes.
but when Beverly is running your theater department,
We'll talk about that next week.
I know. Frere Jacques. This episode gonna begin anytime
Oh, my
soon?
God. Can we just talk? I was so annoyed by that. I know I was already talking about it before we started recording.
Yeah, but we haven't talked about it on a
Well, I
recording
know, so that's what I'm saying. So, like...
Oh.
But, like, he's playing whatever, and she's like, oh, yeah, let me jump in. And she starts, like, she goes full, like, Marty and Back to the Future on it and starts busting out some, expert-level shit. And Picard's just like, the fuck? And then she's like, let's just play this bullshit. And then she starts playing Frere Jacques. And I'm like, fuck you. Why does everyone know this song?
Because he's a Frenchman, and she's like, you're French. You'll like this
If
shit.
French is a dead
But-
language, is Frere Jacques dead too, though?
No, just the words are.
So they don't know what they're singing.
Well, to be fair, I don't know
They have
what
no
they're
idea.
singing.
No, it's like, I would consider Latin a dead language in that there's really nobody that just speaks it as their native tongue. But people still know how
It's
to
on the money.
know what the words
Therefore,
are.
it's our national
And, like, you
national
could
language.
learn to speak it, and people do. But, like, there's not like...
Well, they sing it a lot in church still, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Your
the
Dies
the
Iraes,
church
your
has kept it
Pie
alive.
Jesus, your...
Deus ex machina.
Yeah, that one. I've been to church. I've heard the chanting.
This episode was more boring than church. Ames, you watched a horrible movie, you said.
I did watch a horrible movie because Michael Pillar was saying that this episode was reminiscent of a movie based on a Noel Coward play called Brief
great.
Encounter. The 1940 Murmur version is supposed to be one of the best British films in existence. Of course, there's the caveat that it's a British film, but ching.
Oi, governor! I hear you like no coward.
No.
Let's do some upstanding high society shit.
Great. But I didn't watch the 1940 Murmur version. I watched the 1970 Murmur version,
Oh.
which is terrible.
Is it like an exploitation film? Is there
I don't know what that means.
like
Shaft?
Shaft,
I don't know what that means.
like afros and
No.
sexy ladies?
A blaxploitation film. Is that what you said?
It's an exploitation film.
Oh, well, then you said Shaft.
Why would you think that?
I don't know, because in the
This was made in the
70s, when I think of
70s.
bad movies from the 70s, I think of that
It was
type of stuff.
British.
Oh, British. Yeah, British are
There's
always
black people in
are
Britain.
always highbrow.
Oh, they try certainly. But yeah, so this movie was just about, a woman who has a brief encounter with a man at a train station.
Like a sexual encounter?
No, Jake.
It's an encounter, that implies.
Why are you on today?
Because
You did sort of say encounter in a way that made me also
When I think of
that
encounter in a train station, it's usually salacious.
The only encounter I've ever had in a train station was the time someone whipped his dick out at me in Malden Center, and I was not pleased.
The only thing more sexy than an encounter in a train station is an encounter at Farpoint.
Truth.
Cool.
Actually,
Oh, wow.
sorry, it was at Sullivan Station that guy whipped his dick out. By the way,
Oh yeah, Sullivan I can tag. I can
Richard
understand that happening.
Burton and Sophia Loren, it's a shame it's bad.
It's really bad. They had zero chemistry. Yeah, the point is, they start seeing each other and they fall in love, but they're both also married.
Of course.
And they realize as they're about to do the deed for the first time, and in a friend's flat,
Jesus.
and the friend walks in, and they're like, "Fuck, okay, this can't happen," and they realize they have to break up immediately. And when he's finally saying goodbye for the last time, a stupid friend of the woman's barges over and is like, oh, we have to gossip about things. Have you heard blah 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 blah? And she realizes that as he's leaving, that they never got to say goodbye. And she, for a brief moment, thinks about jumping in front of a train and then doesn't.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the flat burned down and they both died.
What movie would that be, Jake?
What I wished happened while we were watching this episode.
Yeah. Yes. Well, in this movie, it's
how is this inspired by that then?
because it's love that cannot be, and they're too adults.
Star-crossed
They're
lovers?
too mature
Yeah,
to be able
I was
to
gonna
know
say.
that it can continue, and they realize, oh, I guess it can't happen, and we're both adult enough to walk away.
That's still barely a connection. I am
And
so
have the
sorry
lo-
you watched
and
that.
have the longest distance relationship that exists.
I mean, like, really, this is any midnight to dawn romance. I don't think that's a real
It
one.
is not.
It is now.
I just made that one up.
May romance.
May to May. No, do you think she was age-wise? What are we thinking here?
I figure they were
Close
probably
enough.
about the same
Think
age.
so? Yeah.
Appropriate.
Why, do you think that she was a lot older?
I don't know.
Because you know he's, like, bald, right? Like,
Well,
he's
yeah, but
not
he's
exactly
He's
a spring
been bald
chicken.
since
Yeah,
he
I
was
think
like
so.
16.
Patrick Stewart was like in his 50s, probably, at this point.
I feel like she was probably the same. Problem is you, like, don't really see a lot of women in their 50s. You see women in their 80s, and you see women in their 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, she was an attractive lady. I mean,
She was hot, dude. I'd have hit it.
You
She had
know?
very tall hair.
Didn't like her hair. Yeah, the hair was.
Was the hair bad? I'll have to go back
Yeah.
and look.
They
I
had to
didn't
do
really
this
feel bothered by the
tall
hair.
swoop.
They did this weird swoop, and it was knotted around itself in the back. It was like they were like, okay, let's look at the most ridiculous hairstyles TOS gave us, and then make one dumber.
I don't know. Remember Nurse Rand? Not Nurse Rand.
Yeoman
Yeoman Rand.
Oh, Yeoman.
The one that looked like she just upended a basket on her
I
head.
liked that. See, that was kind of
the
clever.
beehive.
Really?
I did.
There
Better
was a
than
scene.
this.
There was a scene where they were in the conference room, and
Banging on the table.
Bev and Dolan, what's her name?
Darren?
Darren were sitting right next to each other.
Mm.
From Picard's perspective, he would see just the two of them right there, and he must have been like, yeah, I do all right. I do all right.
Well, I mean, I love that he's fucking gushing to Bev about his crush. It's like, Jesus, Johnny.
Good God. The scene where he's talking to Troy about, oh, I don't know if I can be involved with a crew member, yada, yada, yada. And she thinks, are you asking me permission, Picard? Because I'm not your mother, and you're not 12.
Picard, Captain,
And she's not
sense that you're an
and
idiot.
she's not a jar of cookies.
But you can put your hand in her.
Oh. Since when is music such a big thing to Picard?
Since he okay, so
Since
here's
his
another thing.
fake kid
Here's another-
left his real job to go study music or whatever.
I know it was a joke in the in-world Inner Light episode that he never really got good at the flute.
Mm.
But he's literally been playing this flute for a lifetime.
Yeah.
I thought he was good at the flute, though.
No, because his wife, at the very beginning of that episode, she makes a joke like, oh, you never really learned how to play.
Well, yeah, but he does.
But he
because
does.
he's there for
Yeah,
the rest
after
of forever.
that he does.
So, like, how in all of these years of studying this flute, how is he still so shitty at it?
Probably because he has to, like,
He can
remake
barely do Frere Jacques.
not a-
Probably
It's
has
not
to
a great
remake
instrument.
probably has to like remake the muscle memory stuff. Like if he was just doing it, like his
Yeah.
mind was doing it, but he wasn't actually playing, then that means his fingers weren't
Actually.
like really getting used to the placement and stuff. I mean, he probably in reality it just makes it more frustrating because he remembers being able to play it quite well, but in reality he just can't really do it because he doesn't actually have the lifetime
I think
experience.
I think he plays it well enough. And I disagree because I think the muscle memory would be there because it would still be in your head.
Yeah, I don't think muscle memory is real. I think it is all in your head.
Head, brain, muscle.
It's like motor memory.
But, I think he plays well enough. I just think there isn't a ton of range you can do on a fucking pan flute.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too. He's like, oh, they're not made anymore. It's like, dude, that's a fucking recorder, dude. Like,
You can
I had
get
one of those
one replicated.
You could
probably.
replicate one. You could fucking go to any elementary school music room and get 80 of them.
We went to school in the distant past compared to where Picard is. They probably don't. Here's the thing: they don't do plastic anymore for sure, and those cheap pieces of shit were always made of plastic.
That's true.
Well, so they replicate them out of wood. You can just steal one from Alexander. I'm sure that little twerp has one.
Yeah, I'm sure. He probably has that fucking wooden train whistle that kids love to have.
Oh my god, he would.
Shut the fuck up!
Probably runs around his quarters blasting it.
Yeah.
No wonder Worf hates being around him. Hot Wonder Worf.
I want to see fucking Alexander in a
Straight jacket.
in a
Prison cell.
yes,
Jeffrey's too.
a
No.
train conductor's
Being
hat.
Finny too.
Yeah.
Just because it would have to be like oversized.
Yeah, to fit over
fit
his
his
ridges.
massive
dear.
skull.
Yeah, this episode is bad.
Yeah, it's fucking awful.
I was just bored. I wrote a scene even when the planet stuff started happening. Like I had already tuned out, and I wrote a note like, "What is happening? I've tuned out."
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's because they
When
try
did-
to like shoehorn this like thing in at the end.
When did we go to this planet? Why is stellar cartography in charge of this?
Well, yeah,
I
that's-
don't
yeah,
understand
yeah.
that.
But okay, so stellar cartography, that's interesting. That is an
Yeah.
interesting thing that we've been introduced to. I thought their laboratory. Well, is this the first we've seen of that laboratory set with the bubbles on the wall?
I bet it was refit from something else.
Probably, but it's. I think we see a bit more of it. It looks like, yeah. Anyway,
Picard always has a wistful look on his face.
but like the instrument, the stellar cartography instrument that was like
That they have to do in the dark.
it looked like the dome from.
Under the dome.
that ticket game.
No, well, yes, the ticket game, but I was going to say the one with the Quatloos. What episode was that?
Gamesters of Triskelion.
Yeah, Gamesters. It looked like that, only instead of having brains inside, it had a wadded up ball of Christmas tree lights.
Yeah.
That you couldn't get them untangled, so you just like put them in there. It's like, look, it's a stellar cartography instrument.
It's space.
So it wasn't the most exciting prop, but the concept of stellar cartography is interesting. I don't know why it needs to be a fucking department.
Yeah, I don't know why
There's
she
a
was...
lot of stars, Jake.
So what's
Yeah.
she studying? She's studying, like, the development of a star in the next, 200 million years or something? Like, she can
I think it was
project...
just 2 million.
Well, that doesn't seem like...
Same difference. She'll be long dead.
Yeah, but in
Picard
theory.
would have killed her in a firestorm.
Well, that's the thing. If she's absolutely wrong, no one will know.
True.
Q will always
Yeah,
know.
Q will know.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, okay, I could imagine, if you're out doing, like, a star charting mission where you're actually mapping star systems, stellar cartography makes sense. But for doing scientific work like that, I mean, I don't know if cartographers aren't in charge of predicting where volcanic islands will erupt.
Yeah, no, this just seemed to be like a weird side project she was picking up.
And then it's
well,
like...
even she was like, I don't really understand why Riker's putting me in charge of this. And
Yeah.
Picard was like, because
To get you killed off.
He knows you're off. Yeah, Riker's jealous. That's why. Bev isn't even the one who's the most jealous. It's really Riker. Riker's like, but remember when we used to fence?
Would it have
At
been
one time?
better if she had died?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
Absolutely.
I think it would be. I mean, granted, it's another blow for Picard, which
Yeah.
is sad because he's been Locutus, he's been Kamen,
He's been tortured by
He-
Cardassians.
he's had to talk to Wesley before.
A lot. All by himself, just the two of them in a fucking shuttle.
He knows Wesley is his son.
Yeah, there was a quote that Darren says to Picard when they're playing their freaking instruments at each other. She says, "You're not used to playing with anyone." Story of Picard's fucking life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been better only because it would have still been shitty, but it would have been less dissatisfying.
Yeah.
I say less dissatisfying because it still would have definitely been dissatisfying, but like having her miraculously survive and then the two of them just breaking up, it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that. Like, I mean,
even-
and you
even
knew that
that-
they had to. I mean, there was no way she was sticking around.
Yeah, even that moment, and they just fucking teased you with it, where it's like, oh, they have survivors, and Picard's like, I'll be right down right away, instead of asking who the survivors are, because he's a
seriously.
fucking idiot. And he goes down there, and the first group of survivors aren't her, and he has a sad, and I liked when he had a sad, because it's Patrick Stewart, and he's fucking great. And then she shows up, being all burnt and shit.
And she was pissed. I messaged Chris when I got to that part, because I was like, ooh, she hates him.
I'm sorry, you saved lots of lives, bitch.
I mean, there is a touching thing in this episode, and that is that Picard really only ever shared that music with his wife in Resic.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Who was
like,
a fake person.
he was a fake person, but like it was a real person to
I
him.
bet you his friend, what was his friend's name? Baelish, no.
Oh,
Bataille?
Bataille.
Bataille.
Oh, yeah, but
Isn't that Littlefinger's
Yes.
name? Okay.
yeah, he
I
definitely
bet Bataille knew.
I like to be
he
friends with
definitely
Peter
shared it
Baelish.
because he played it at his son's christening and stuff. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it was a special thing. It was a special part of his life.
Yeah.
So like to bring this new person in.
Yeah, just...
to like... And like
Rub it
that's
in.
touching. And if she had died, it would have been heartbreaking.
Yeah. The execution was just so lacking.
Yeah, it was very lacking. The writing of this episode did not live up to the concept.
It didn't do anything to get me invested in their relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
I liked her. Again, I thought the actress was good.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was like a great episode, but
No.
I also thought it was cute because she was a little bit like, I'm gonna, change your expectations, and then like the whole like kicking his butt at music. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought she felt like a pretty good match for him.
She walked
like in a
walks
different
in,
way than what's her name? Vash.
Yeah, like he walks in on her doing her cartographying, and suddenly, like, the lights are supposed to stay out or something, and he ruins her experiment.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know what it was, but I liked that she was all like, great, now you've ruined, a couple hours of work, whoever you are. Oh, you're the captain.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
but then
I'm still gonna be mad at you.
then he's
Also,
all
stop drinking that tea, you fucker.
Then he's all, well, maybe you could lock the door. It's like, maybe everyone could lock their fucking doors,
That's a good
Picard.
idea.
Now, any
Maybe if we
fucking
had locks on the
problems
doors.
would have been avoided in both these series if you motherfuckers ever locked the... Two things
How many
Starfleet
times
needs.
do I have to tell them to put locks on the doors?
Regulations about not boning your underlings and fucking locks!
Yeah.
So Picard can't bone any other
Yeah,
Starfleet
I was just gonna
person
say
then.
then he couldn't bone
He could
anybody.
bone-
He'd go
he could
crazy.
bone.
He just can't
You know.
bone someone under his
Everybody
command.
is under his command.
Oh no, he could bone the captain of another ship.
Yeah,
But they
but
never
when do
see
they do
each
that?
other.
Or his lawyer, when or
The JAG.
the JAG lawyer.
Well, find yourself a fucking civilian. Jesus.
Or-
And just have her live on the ship and
Yeah,
be
but-
boring
yeah, I was
like
gonna
Keiko.
say-
I mean,
There's
everyone
gonna be-
else fucking does, apparently.
That's true.
No,
But
but
then, it's the same problem though, because his problem wasn't that he was boning an underling or a subservient. No, what word am I fucking looking for? Subordinate. That's the one. Subservient. Great.
It's a different episode.
It was that he would not be able to order her to her death, and he realizes it's if it's my responsibility and you get hurt, I won't be able to live with myself.
Right, but he never has to order a civilian to
He'd be
their
like
death.
the fucking
Yeah.
bland chick in Brief Encounter and want to throw himself out of a train.
Yeah, the difference
Space
is
train.
the different
Hey.
thing is
That was awful. We're
Because
so
like,
white.
he even says people died under my command before.
Yeah.
Jack Crusher obviously is an example of someone who he ordered.
Well, yeah, but he
to
was
his
stoked
death.
about that because that means he got to bang Blazing
True.
Bev again.
Yeah, and pawn Wesley off on the dead.
That's right. So yeah.
All right.
Well, anywho,
Our clock
we're
is
in the
ticking.
green of the
We
next
somehow actually talked about
Well,
this
we
episode.
always talk well about
Yeah,
shit
you're
that
gonna
we don't
cut a lot
like.
of
Are
it
you
because most
kidding?
of it was them
Well,
being
get
disgusting.
ready then,
We're also
because
going to get
coming
packages.
up next.
Oh yeah, you hate this.
Coming up
episode.
after the break, we have. Ah, boy, folks, you've been waiting many years for this.
I know you've brought this up for a while.
We've talked about this before, but we are
Way
finally
back when.
there. We are there at the pinnacle of shitty Star Trek episodes. Possibly, in some respects, the shittiest. And that is
Pretty bad.
The Chase.
I don't feel like it was that bad. I mean, it wasn't good.
I mean, that's why I said in some respects. Like, yeah, there are objectively episodes that are worse
In some regards.
In some regards, but this one really
The point
does
of it.
some awful
the
things.
point of it is.
Oh yeah, the end. The
Idiotic.
point.
Well,
the payoff is dumb.
Let me do the summary.
All right,
Yeah.
Jake, tell us what happens in
So
the chase.
in The Chase, Picard is visited by his old
Three spirits.
archaeology professor,
Jacob Marley.
Professor Galen. Wasn't that also Beverly's friend from Remember Me?
No, that was Quace.
Oh, that was Quace. There's Dalen Quace, though, wasn't it? Or something? It's like, yeah. Anyway, he's visited by Professor Galen, and Galen gives him this fucking little trinket that he found digging on some shithole
I
planet.
did like the trinket.
And
Did or did not.
I did.
I thought the idea of it was really
so it was,
cool.
Yeah, me
so like
too.
it's well, let me do the summary. So it's like this really fucking rare.
Ran on the trinket.
And suddenly, this guy's finally a
It's this
big professional.
Yeah, please come on. It was this really rare thing, thought to be none in existence, but of course the professor found one, and then he's like, Picard, I'm giving it to you, but I want you to join me on this expedition to find the holy grail of all archaeology anywhere. And Picard's like, you know what? I'm tempted because I love archaeology, because, I'm a huge music aficionado and also a huge archaeology aficionado. I almost became an archiologist, but I chose this path instead. And of course,
have I shown you my flute?
the professor's
no.
like, I'm disappointed, Picard. You're dead to me. Fuck you. I'm leaving. So he leaves. and then he dies.
And then he's dead to Picard, literally.
His ship is attacked.
By the Uridians?
Some assholes.
We met a Uridian before in that weird Worf episode.
So some assholes attack his ship and kill him, and then the chase is on, as they say in the title of the episode.
Who says that?
I don't know. So Picard now he wasn't going to even help the guy find anything, and now he's fully like disengaged from all other responsibilities.
He cancels all their missions.
Fires
like, Finney into space.
We're just gonna go. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it for Galen, the professor who I loved and who I told to go fuck himself a couple days ago.
And who told me in turn to go fuck myself.
All this fucking of oneself. So they go on this fucking stupid mission. They are encountering all of their foes.
At Farpoint.
They encounter the Cardassians. They encounter the Klingons. There's a big mystery. It's like a planet-to-planet thing. They got this fucking computer software written into the code of everybody's DNA.
They gotta use their... Orphan
and everyone is convinced that it's going to be a weapon, or it's going to be something that gives us unlimited power. And then, they get finally to the final step of the puzzle, and who shows up? They're back! The Romulans!
Yay!
They're like, you know what? We didn't put in any of the work, but we were following you the whole time, so you dum-dums.
Which you got to admit, very Romulan.
Oh, yeah, good. That's good for them. So everyone's fighting over, well, who's going to get the prize? Who's going to find out the treasure? And then, meanwhile, Beverly, while everyone's arguing, she, scrapes some rock into her machine. And
by machine, what do you mean?
The tri machine.
Some kind of DNA sequencer.
And then Picard
not her vagina.
Triggers the program, which reconfigures his tricorder and turns it into a holographic projector somehow.
Magic.
And then this fucking woman shows up and is like, Hello, people.
Do you have any features my face could use? I could use some.
Guess what? You're all my grandkids, and you never visit.
Come and give Nana a kiss, honey.
Then Sargon shows up from TOS to be like, I already did this!
Thank you.
Yeah, so the big revelation...
I have a note on that, actually.
The big revelation is that all humanoid life, I should say, in the...
I don't think the Horta came from these
in the
people.
galaxy was
beautiful.
seeded by this ancient race. They came on every planet into the primordial ooze. And
yeah, we literally already did this.
Yeah, and because of that, we evolved.
They're going to need to have a Maury Povich episode where they find out who's really the daddy of these bipedal
there's
humanoid...
so much cum on every planet. Because every ancient race was like, oh yeah, we should totally jizz on every planet and see
but
what
which
happens.
ones are the ancient?
We should plant our space seed.
The way it is, they all just... They didn't realize they all coexisted because they all kept just missing each other. While Sargon's people were on Earth, fucking Potato Lady was on Vulcan, and then they took different routes there, so then Sargon's on Vulcan, Potato Lady's on Earth, then the engineers from Prometheus, meanwhile, are on Kronos, and somebody else is on Ferenginar.
Forget everything about evolution, genetics, natural selection. Forget all that. That's not important. Yeah, Star Trek, we don't believe in any of that shit. We're a creationist science fiction television show.
Gross.
Our planet was seeded by aliens.
Apollo helped a little bit.
Everyone just came. But it's like our planet's a party and everyone's coming. And
maybe it was actually just some kind of weird space orgy, and so really they don't know who did everything. They just know that they were splooging together all over all the planets.
Potato Lady's got her thumb up Sargon's ass while Sargon sucks off Apollo.
I don't think sucking Apollo off is going to help spread the seed.
Well, eventually Apollo fucks Potato Lady.
What really irritates me about this too is that I can forgive the original series for doing shit like this, but TNG, it's 20 years later, more than 20 years later, 25 years later, and we're still doing this, and we're the whole reason was somebody in the writer's room was like, hey guys, so we got this problem where we can only hire human actors for the show.
There was a unicorn dog once.
So we should maybe try to figure out a way to say why they all kind of look human. because the television audience won't understand if not everything looks human.
The staff apparently dubbed this episode the most Roddenberry-esque of the TNG episodes.
Yeah, like
'Cause
Jake said, it sucks.
It would fit right in TOS.
Well, I even as I was watching, I can almost picture the end scene with like Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. You know, TOS Klingons, TOS Romulans, and nobody else because they were the only recurring aliens back then. And just similar thing, but you know, the lady would have shimmered into existence with like a weird light effect. That one they loved so much, the kaleidoscope thing. She probably would have been a human woman in like a sparkly, very low cut dress and like big black hair.
Titties.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, big old tiggled face.
yeah, some kind of cat suit.
It probably, you know, I mean, it's weird. Like I hated the denouement, but I kind of didn't mind the rest of it.
I thought so much of it was agonizingly convenient. Like, I loved Picard and Galen together. I thought they were, I thought that was realistic. I thought that was cute. I thought it was a nice, you know, mentor-student kind of relationship.
That was well done.
I loved
throwing
the
a
toy.
bitch fit felt right too.
Yeah,
because he's like this old guy who figured he was totally gonna get what he wanted with this one since he brought him a fancy present.
The present was really cool. I really
It
like
was
the
a
idea
nice
of
present.
like, you know, if this is the human, and inside are lots of like little itty bitty sculptures because they're all the different facets of yourself. That's cool. I like.
It's kind of like a lazy.
It literally came in his pants when he opened it and saw the little
Oh, yeah,
figures.
totally.
Like there was a moment of
It is kind of like a lazy Russian nesting doll, though. It's like, I don't want to make the many, many tiers, so I'm just going to make one big one and a shitload of little ones. There we go.
Well, the thing is, a Russian nesting doll is like things within. This is one thing with lots of things within.
No, that's why it's just a lazy one.
It's not lazy though,
less
because
effort.
it has a reason.
Totally different.
No, I know. I'm just being
Also,
wise
this
ass.
guy, the guy that carved
not
this
layers.
thing is supposedly a fucking master.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't impressed with the artistry on it.
Well, it's been, worn
But
down
it was
over 12,000
Well, and also
years.
it was 500 years before its time, or
Here's a
whatever.
question.
Its time could have been a long fucking time ago.
12,000 years
Why
ago.
are
Yeah,
artifacts so important when you can replicate fucking anything?
Oh, because anything that's real is always going to be better than
Yeah,
something
but
that's
how-
replicated.
Okay, yeah, it's about
I
the
bet-
history of the object.
It's
I
like
bet
you could
forgery
just
is
have
super
a-
good though in the future.
Yeah.
You could have
Oh,
a
yeah.
replicated diamond
But
or a
like,
real diamond, and the real diamond obviously is worth more because it's, real.
Yeah, I'm sure you have to do, like, fancy boo-to-do scans.
Oh, there'll be some
to
kind of
determine.
pedigree,
Yeah,
some
although-
sort of proof of pedigree kind
Although,
of thing,
frankly,
I'm sure.
don't give it to Picard. Don't give a fragile, one-of-a-kind artifact to Picard. He works on a spaceship that's constantly crashing into shit.
You know what'd be really funny? They realize, they
Yeah,
scanned
but that
the
other
thing.
guy's ship got blown up. I mean, if Picard didn't have it, it would have been
that's
lost right then and
true.
there.
Caitlin brings up a good point.
But, they
Sometimes.
they scan it, and they're like, wait a minute, the little figurines that...
Made in China?
No, they start to pick. It's like, wait, they're fucking chocolate. This is basically an Easter basket.
Aw.
We've been acting like this was important.
But I
That
have to
would
say,
actually be
important.
amazing.
as nice as it was for the gift and everything, to paraphrase a hero of mine, it belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
Like, it does not belong on Captain Picard's shelf.
That's probably
like
true.
that's like
It's
not a
selfish of him.
it's not a 24th century. In the 24th century, there's no reason because I could replicate a copy of this just to
I
have
was
on
gonna
my
say,
shelf.
but that's the piece of shit. Okay, here's the thing.
Visit it in the holodeck.
That's the piece of shit you put in the museum because people are always letting their kids run into shit and break it. People steal shit.
ISIS.
People take
The
fucking
cat?
pictures with flash on.
Yeah.
Fuck no. These peasants don't deserve the real thing.
mean-
Give them the replicated garbage.
But like to Chris's point, I don't know who said you put it on the crashy ship. Who said that?
All of us said
yeah.
that.
Somebody said
Mostly
it.
me.
Okay, somebody said that.
Well, and I said that the ship that actually blew up was the ship that it was
started
Yeah.
on, yeah.
But yeah,
so-
don't, either way, you don't put it on the crashy thing, the crashy explodey thing.
You put it in the bubble wrap ship.
How many precious artifacts do you think have been gone down with the 8,000 Oberth classes
Oh,
that have
no.
exploded since the 23rd century?
How
Yeah,
many
but how
other
many went down
artifacts-
because of fires and sinking ships and all the shit that happens on this planet?
How many other artifacts did Galen have in his little ship that he was going to give to his other friends he was going to visit?
Yeah.
When
I
I
know
visit, you mean bribe?
I know
Yes.
the cross of
Probably
Coronado was almost lost on a sinking ship.
True, it was.
What was?
Yeah.
The cross. So there was this. It was.
Is this a real thing,
It
or
was
are
a
you
cross
quoting a movie?
of. Was it Coronado? It was some Spanish explorers.
The Cornetto trilogy?
No, it was a cross, like a jeweled cross.
Ooh.
That
Sounds
was found. It was
expensive.
found in, I think, the desert in, I want to say, like Utah or New Mexico or something, by a Boy Scout.
Why would there be a
And then
boat
it was
in
taken.
Mexico?
And then it was taken by some like treasure hunters.
It is Coronado.
Coronado, yeah, and it was lost for like 20 years. It was just lost to the ages until there was a millionaire who had like a millionaire artifacts collector and who had it. His ship was boarded by an archaeologist adventurer in this, like in the 30s, and this is on a boat. This is years later.
Are you actually Indiana Jonesing us right now?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
This
good.
is just the
I
opening
knew
to
it.
Indiana
And you know
Jones
how
and the
I
Last
knew
Crusade.
it? Because you wouldn't fucking look at him. That's how I knew it. Because that's what you did last time he made up some bullshit. You were like, you would engage but never fucking look at him. I knew it.
I love that movie. That's a great movie.
Apparently, having Googled, Francisco Vasquez de Coronado was a real person.
Yeah, I know
Which I did
Coronado's
not
a real
know
person.
was... Yeah, no, I figured they just made shit out. So.
Wow.
I don't know if he had a cross.
We are officially an
Canon.
educational podcast now.
But yeah, no.
And
That's
I officially
a great
know
movie.
your tell or his tell via
The
you.
only thing I think I've said this before. The only thing I hate about that movie and that opening in particular is how
The snakes.
just that, like, every single thing, and I've said this on the show before, every single thing that we know about Indiana Jones as a person happened to him in that afternoon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which is fucking stupid.
I think you talked about probably during Solo.
Yeah, because that was what I was expecting.
Because Solo was like a basically movie length. Anyway, Star Trek.
Star Trek. We see a lot of Bev drinking tea all of a sudden this season.
Yeah.
With Picard. I actually made a joke last episode where Darren is giving him all these tea recipes, and I wanted Picard to say, "Well, Darren, you're my cup of tea." Hey, because he loved each other.
I can't.
No.
That tea was disgusting that she gave him.
The first one, he probably found one he kind of liked.
Look, she said it was herbal tea.
Earl Grey,
Herbal
hot.
tea is good.
Which means it's probably not really tea.
Well, that's true. But Beverly seemed to like it. But what does that dumb bitch know?
It was just pot. It was just.
Ooh.
They just brewed some
Pot of pot, eh?
I kind of wait because I kind of skimmed the Memory Alpha article
Can you
on this
do
one.
pot that way? Could you just make a tea out of pot?
I don't think you'd want to. I don't think
No,
it would
it
taste
tastes like shit, but could you?
Anyway, I did kind of
Science.
skim the Memory Alpha article for this one, Ames. I kind of
God damn you.
overlapped you a little.
Yeah,
Did you?
Ames doesn't get talked over enough on this podcast.
Yeah.
You figured you'd take that.
But I
from
read a
him as
thing
well.
that I specifically wanted to bring up with you because
Paradise Syndrome. They were the preservers. There, it's in first.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
Okay.
A thing that I think would have made me love this episode and would have made you hate it was if they had gone with the earlier draft.
Oh, the Mad World Draft? No, it was so stupid.
Apparently-
It was so fucking stupid, and I hated it.
Oh, wait, did you...
I love the movie. It's a Mad
Yeah,
World.
I haven't seen it in ages, but it's good.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie, but no, everything became so goddamn fucking convenient that it would have just become a cartoon.
Well, and I think that's what they said. The reason they abandoned it was just too cartoony.
It was silly. It was silly and dumb. It's like, oh, and now the Cardassians happen to be here at the exact same fucking second that fucking...
When are they
Well,
gonna,
that's still
when are they gonna
happened.
Scooby Doo it and just pull the mask off of the Klingon and be like, he was a Vulcan the whole time?
It was Cybot.
See, it would-
So wait,
It
did
would've
you
been-
actually read details on it? Because I just read the little one line.
I didn't read
thing.
a ton of details. Really all that I read, where is it in my notes? Yeah, early drafts were too much like it's a mad world.
I presume that
There would have
means...
been Ferengi. The Ferengi would have gotten involved.
I was going to say, I bet that means more aliens would have shown up, probably
Yeah.
Ferengi. Like, really, that's what they should have done. By the end, it should have just been so crowded on, like, fucking Andorians are over this way, a couple of Vulcans show up for shits, like, before long, it's like, it's just everyone just shouting at each other.
No, and that's the thing. Like, it makes it inconceivable to me. Like, not only is the premise of, everyone was seeded by these people, and if you follow the roadmap, if you collect every single piece of DNA that exists, you can find us and get this fucking away message of a hologram.
You know, it does
Sorry, you first.
No, I was just gonna say, it does sort of feel like, solve this puzzle on the back of the cereal box, and everybody just shows up, and they're all pissed off, and they're all like, well, be sure to drink your Opal. Son of a bitch!
Well, and I was just thinking, too, like, one of my notes was, like, their whole note. And this is why aside from the fact the seeding idea is stupid. The idea that some earlier race had left behind some sort of information could have been interesting. Just wish the information wasn't, we're your grandparents. But also just the fact that
That one wasn't even falling out, Jake.
Yes, it was.
Stop destroying this placemat.
They already had the perfect "we don't want you to forget that we existed" episode, and that
it
was Inner Light.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
we didn't need to
that's true.
revisit this idea.
But
at
what also
all.
annoyed me was like the whole message was just like, yeah, remember us. It's like, you didn't say your name. Okay. Like, they give no information beyond, we jizzed on all your worlds, bye.
And you look like a partially formed person. You're a fetus. You're a fetus person.
We
potato
jizzed
person.
on all your planets. You've been cucked.
Oh, but as I started ranting, and then
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
Jesus.
continue ranting, because there's so much to rant about. Now I know why Jake hates this fucking thing so much, because it's all of a sudden, oh, the Cardassians are here, and they've also been looking in on this, and they're also just as far along as we are.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Klingons, they also are like studying this thing, and also happen to be here at the exact same fucking second. Oh no, the Romulans, they're also going to check the very same fucking thing because they've been following us because they're really interested in this fucking thing. Where did you all come from? How did 4 different races come to the same conclusion at the same goddamn
yeah,
time?
the other thing too, it would have been one thing if Galen had
The
showed up.
Vulcans probably saw all this ages ago, by the way.
Oh, yeah, they didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, because they're Vulcans. Sorry, Jake, go ahead.
It would have been one thing if Galen had showed up and been like, oh, they're after me. If he'd been like paranoid or something, or because, but it's
Yeah, laying some
as it
groundwork.
is. It's just like, hey,
Because the
I want
Uranians
you-
are in on it too. Then
well, they
'Cause
were
they kill
selling
him.
the information to
Yeah.
the Klingons. But
it's such a
but,
stretch.
and the other thing too is that other than because of Galen coming to Picard, there's the Federation would have had no idea this whole chase was even on.
Yeah.
Jeez, true.
Also, we're just gonna ignore the fact that the Klingons apparently have a weapon that can destroy a biosphere now.
Well, that's General Order 24. I mean, every society has it.
Well, but see, I always thought it was implicit, or that maybe they said it explicitly, that General Order 24 was like, barrage the planet with phasers until it, like, is just melted. But this was like, they dropped something in the atmosphere and skadoodled, and that's the thing, General Order 24 is like, yeah, you've decimated the world, but it's still usable. This is like, no, we have destroyed the biosphere. This planet is no longer usable even by us.
Is General 24 the planet still usable?
I mean, you've destroyed the surface. You'll have
You're
to,
thinking of a biogenic weapon, which
which is what the Klingons seem to have had.
well, no, maybe, yeah.
Because they did say it, just that all the
Maybe.
life on the planet was just dying.
Yeah.
I assume that's what would have happened with General Order 24, though.
Well, 'cause I think they were
I
just-
think it would have been like a bombardment.
Oh, yeah,
with
bombardment.
torpedoes.
Oh.
So, like,
okay.
yeah, you lose.
Because I remember when it first came up, and we were like, why
Why
would
does
be
Starfleet have
what would be a
that?
good reason to have General Order 24? And
Apparently
the
to
answer
keep
was
your rival from getting something cool.
true, but I think the answer of if there's some kind of an infestation or something that you have
Yeah.
to get rid of, in which case sterilize the whole planet is what you gotta do.
Nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, speaking of cartoonish things, what was up with the Klingon guy?
Like,
He was the most goofy fucking Klingon since
They found him in a 7-Eleven.
Christopher Lloyd?
Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, like they got this actor. They dug him out. I thought all of the supporting actors really sucked this episode.
I liked Osset. Osset was kind of nice.
She actually, so I looked.
She was so mustache twirlingly.
I looked up the 3 sort of head aliens. Weirdly, the Klingon guy, although he's done a lot of work and has a fairly lengthy IMDb listing, doesn't have a Wikipedia entry.
Maybe
Oh.
he just does like bit parts and things.
Maybe, but he's been in Star Trek a couple of times. Osset was actually one of John Steed's partners in a season of the 60s Avengers.
Oh,
Cool. I thought she was doing a Mary Poppins impression at a point.
yeah. Yeah, I was not impressed with the alien actors.
I'm now picturing sort of a Cardassian Mary Poppins, and she's singing these chipper songs about how, remember children, your enemies don't love their children like we do.
And then they get to play with a weasel.
With that fucking hat with the berries.
Yikes. When Chris goes in one of his happy memories, it's a little odd.
Oh, if I could draw.
Your sister draws.
True. So,
I wanted to get back to Sargon quickly. The thing that
Oh, yeah.
the thing I just shouted at Chris so that I could have said it first instead of the mad world thing was Ronald Moore admits that the ancient humanoids could have been the preservers from Paradise Syndrome, the one with
Sargon.
Yeah, no, not Sargon.
Oh.
That was
Yeah, no,
Return to Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's Return to Tomorrow. Yeah.
That was the horrible Native American
Yeah.
planet.
Oh, yeah.
That left that
Oh.
weird pyramid thing that Kirok fell into.
I'm so...
No, those are the Red Angels.
Nice. But yeah, those were the preservers, and I wrote very loudly in my notes, no mention of Sargon at all.
Well,
She
that
dies.
mission got classified.
If the Red Angels do turn out to be the preservers, that'll be hilarious.
Okay, that would be kind of funny.
Be-
I also
so-
was wondering.
Oh, dude, I'm like 2 episodes behind. Let's not talk about that.
For the record, we are
Spock
only
dies.
like 5 episodes into Discovery Season 2.
in Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, no,
As, at time,
at time of recording, yeah, no, the
Okay, but I haven't seen like the last 2, so
yeah, no, I
we're
know.
not spoiling anything.
We're just explaining to our listeners that this
readers.
at this point, like,
I read the transcript every week.
No,
No, I don't.
One of our favorite podcasts, they always call their listeners readers. Like,
but yeah, no,
always.
in the real world, we just had what was it, Sound of Thunder or something? The Saru episode.
Yeah.
The sound of
One of the
thunder.
many Saru.
But yeah, but they'll know. I mean, Anywho,
So if all life forms are, I got so lost in the fucking science that they were trying to insinuate.
that's science with like the biggest scare quotes.
Yeah, that all life forms have compatible proteins or some shit in their DNA, which means all of the original DNA, all the primordial DNA or whatever the fuck is compatible. Can they do this with all the animals then? Can you compare a Klingon cat and a human cat and an Earthling cat?
Well, yeah, any biological
have
matter
Klingons?
from any biological matter, or I should say, cellular life from any planet that was seeded by the bozos would
Bojos.
have the map in it. That's why they were able to just use like some fossilized algae or something.
So why are they humanoid and not like quadrupedal cats?
Because so again, this is why it's so stupid. So
Very
Is it
stupid.
because humans are the final form or some shit?
Yes, that is the point.
no.
This
But
is
we learn in Voyager that it's not.
This is actually
But we know from real science that cats and humans don't have a...
This is a strictly
Common
intelligent
ancestor.
design argument. Like this
back far enough though.
this is the central argument of intelligent design.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no, it's
unfortunate.
dumb.
What the fuck were they doing with this episode?
Well,
Sounds
for
really-
the matter, intelligent design hadn't been a thing when this episode was written.
So what's really dumb too is like when Picard is expressing shock, it's like, what? But how can these different DNA strands be compatible? That's just like, whoa, Johnny, you've met Mr. Spock, right? The guy with the human mother and Vulcan father, or fucking you had that
Kalar.
Romulan human kid on your staff. You had Kalar.
Like
I don't know
Tarsus.
I don't know if maybe Worf mentioned that Klingon Romulan girl he met on shit planet there.
Oh no, he's got to
Shit
keep
planet.
that under wraps.
Like, I'm just saying, you're fucking your ship's counselor.
That girl can never show her ears again.
You know,
She has to cut them off.
your
We
ship's
certainly shouldn't
counselor
show them
is
around here.
2 different species. I mean, this shouldn't be that shocking, John.
John.
I mean,
Johnny.
yeah, it's again.
And he
this is
solves the fucking thing that Galen's been working on for years and years and years in an afternoon.
Well, he
Yeah.
clearly was a fucking prodigy.
well,
which is
Galen
why
didn't have
Galen
a
wanted them to be
computer.
best
He was
friends.
doing everything on pen and paper. So.
Kind of like,
via abacus.
Yeah.
kind of like Kirk's lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's bleeding books and. Well, I think it's heavily implied that basically Galen knew what he was looking for. He just needed the proof. Like, I think there was sort of a double meaning to his little gift. It
Well,
was
I
not
don't
just
think-
the whole multitude of voices thing.
Yeah. That's why the gift is really, really nice for this
Well, he
episode.
knew he
This
was.
is the
He
episode
knew that he
stupid.
was looking for. He knew about the puzzle. I think he knew
Yeah.
about the pieces,
Why is it a fucking
but
puzzle?
but he
God
didn't
damn it.
know about the. He did not know about the outcome that it was
I mean,
going to
I-
be an ancient race.
I
That's
like
it,
I like the Klingons' theory on what it was going to be. That it was going to be a recipe for biscuits.
I'll
That
send you
was the
some
best
biscuits.
one.
I'll send you my mother's
recipe for biscuits.
I want to know about Klingon biscuits.
Well, and then she was really offended too. She was like, "How dare you?" or like something, and I was just like, "What?"
So, now at the end, right? It's like, the Romulan calls up to be like, maybe in another lifetime.
I said the same thing.
But I was like, does that... Because I feel like really, it couldn't be the Cardassian. it couldn't be the Klingon. But even the Romulan still felt maybe just because he hadn't been in the episode, it still just felt a little like a stretch.
It's also like, hey, TNG, I know you really want the Romulans to be a thing, but nobody else does, and they don't work very
There
well.
have been some good Romulan moments.
A
The
few.
Defector was great. The Enemy was great.
But like,
I like
when
the
you just,
Romulans.
but that's when they do proper character development with the Romulans. If they just throw a Romulan in to be,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like fucking
an
fake
adversary, yeah, it
Sorry.
never works.
But like, yeah, like especially the way they just tossed them into the last 5 minutes because they were like, I guess we want the Romulans here for this.
And as I said, like they were going to also have the Ferengi at one point, but that would have been way too much money to like do more makeup and costuming, get more goddamn people in. My
I
God.
wonder if it would have been Armin Shimmerman.
There came a point, I know we've been talking about how all the fucking alien actors are mostly garbage. There came a point where I was watching Patrick Stewart be like, he's not even trying anymore.
He's shut down inside.
They did like this whole pan into his face, looking straight through the camera, basically, where he's realizing that oh no, it's so sad Galen died, and now there's this all this stuff that he'll never be a part of again, and it's like Patrick's just saying lines now. Sorry, Patrick.
It's bad.
Oh, actually, it wouldn't have been Armin Shimmerman because Deep Space Nine had started by now and he was already Quark.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, and I also have a thought on what these ancient people could be, but I'm not going to talk about it now. I'll talk about it in a couple of years.
Oh.
I think that's all we really need to say about this, so I'm going to jake us out now.
Sounds good.
All right. You know what's crazy? We almost just about made
We
it.
just we're a little over time, but
No,
Although-
you'll trim some of the bullshit
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah, like the package.
all right. So, well, thank you for listening, everybody. I am so sorry if you watch these episodes with us. Have a stiff drink on us and wait until next week when we present 2 more episodes of
Slightly
Star
better
Trek:
episodes.
The Next Generation.
Well, one
in,
slightly better episode.
Frame of Mind, as well as Suspicions.
I believe it's pronounced Suspiciones.
Oh, you're right.
Sabotage.
So those will
Don't
be coming up.
correct me, it sickens me.
Those will be coming up next time on A Star to Steer Her By. Until then, find our podcast on Facebook. Search for A Star to Steer Her By. We can also be found on Twitter and Tumblr at SSHB Podcast or sshbpodcast.com. You can, of course, download our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and any other podcast websites. And you can always download us from our home on SoundCloud. Just search. My name again has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
Remember me.
Or you know what would have been a better title? Scavenger Hunt.
Shit hunt.
Scavenger.
Mike.
Oh.